Welcome to Lesson 4, determining the equation of a line from a graph. We're going to start with a review of slope. So first we're going to plot the points and calculate the slope of the line joining them. We're going to sketch the line that go through the points, and then we're going to find the slope. So if we plot 5, 7, across 5, up 7, and then down, minus 1 minus 5 is minus 1, so back 1, down 5. If I connect these dots, and I'm not going to use the make it straight pretty thing, because that's not what you guys would have if we're quickly finding slope. Oh, except that line is so horrible, I will use it. If we count up 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, I get a rise of 12, and 2, 4, I get a run of 6. So for my first one, I get rise m for slope, rise over run, equals 12 over 6. So my slope is 2 over 1. For the next one, minus 3 and 8 and 5 and 4. If we connect these dots, not perfect, but all right, I'm going to have a negative slope for this one because it's going down when we go to the right. So I'm going to have a rise of minus 4 and a run of 2, 4, 6, 8, a run of 8. So my slope here, m, which is rise over run, equals minus 4 over 8, which is minus 1/2. For the third one, fourth one, fifth one, I'm going to do this one just making sure that we remember that slope, which is m, is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Making sure I know which one's x1, x1, y1, x2, y2. So I'll have minus 7 minus 5 over 7 minus 2. So that gives me minus 12 over 7 plus 2, which is minus 12 over 9, which is minus 4 over 3. So it's going to be a negative slope going down 4 and across 3. Let's take a look. So minus 2, 5, and 7 minus 7. It's definitely a negative slope. And if we were to draw it out, it runs across 9, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, and it goes down 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. A rise of negative 12 because it's a negative slope. So it's going to give us the same thing, minus 12 over 9, which we had here, which reduces to minus 4 over 3. Okay. Question 4, or line 4, says we're going to plot the point minus 6 at a height of 4 and 8 and a height of 4. If I connect these dots, I get a horizontal line. And if I try to calculate the slope, well, I know how far the run was. The run was 6, 2, 4, 6, and then another 8, 2, 4, 6, 8. So my run was 14, but I don't have any rise, so my rise equals 0. So when I do this, my slope, which is rise over run, is going to equal 0 over 14, which is just 0. So for my horizontal line, I got a slope of 0. That's going to be pretty much the same for any horizontal line, and that makes sense. It doesn't have any steepness. It's completely flat, so it doesn't have any slope. You can probably guess what's going to happen in question for line 5. If I plot 4, 7, and then I plot 4 minus 9. In this case, I get a vertical line. And in this case, I have a rise of, it was 7 and 9, so a rise of 16. But in this case, I don't have any run, so my run equals 0. And this seems like the steepest possible thing you can have. If I was figuring out the slope, which is rise over run, it would be 16 over 0. When you punch that into your calculator, it says error, or it says it can't find it, or something like that. And the reason is we don't say it's infinite slope. We just say that the slope of a vertical line is undefined. So for a vertical line, the slope is undefined. And we're going to just rewrite those rules again. So for a horizontal line, the slope equals 0. And it's a flat sideways line. And for a vertical line, our slope equals undefined, and it's an up-down line. Just a reminder. So we're going to use those new things that we've learned, as well as reviewing some of our old stuff. So this one says, determine the equation of the following graph by finding the slope and the y-intercept. So we're trying to find the slope and the y-intercept because we're going to use that in y equals mx plus b to figure out the slope of this particular line. So I like to start with the y-intercept because it's the easiest. So my y-intercept is 2. For the slope, we're going to pick any two good points. And by good point, I mean it's at the crossing of a grid line. So if I pick like that point and that point, but you can pick any two, and I make my triangle like this, I'm going to have a rise that's negative. This is a negative slope. So a negative slope, my rise is going to be -4, and my run was 1, 2, 3, 4. My run was 4, so my slope is going to equal -4 over 4, which is -1. So when I plug these into, that's my m, that's my b, I get y equals -1x plus 2. That is the equation of the line for example 1. We're going to keep going and we're going to practice a whole bunch of them. So for all of these, we're going to want to find out what the slope equals and what the y-intercept equals. Y-intercept, which is the same as b. So in this case, it's 4. For my slope, I get 4 over 2. So it's rise over run, which is 4 over 2. It's just 2, or 2 over 1. Both work. I'm going to put it into y equals mx plus b. So I get y equals 2x plus 4. And that is the formula or the equation of that line. For this one, we need, what does m equal? Ooh, too high. That's a good one. So that point and that point. I've got a run of 3, a rise of 2. So it's rise over run. So it's 2 over 3. My y-intercept was there. So my b equals 1. So y equals mx plus b. I sub in that y was 2/3 x plus 1. That's the equation of that line. Now it asks, what if the line is horizontal? So let's take a look. we've got a line here, and we want to find the equation of this line. If we were to look at the coordinates of this point here, x is -4, y is 1. If we look at this point, x is -1, y is 1. If we look at this point, x is 2, y is 1. And I hope that you would notice that for all of these points, our y coordinate was 1. And the equation of this line ends up being, this is the line y equals 1. There's no slope. So the coefficient of x would be 0. And the line is going to be y equals 1. And we're just going to write a rule. Any horizontal line has the equation y equals a number, and then that number is going to be wherever it crosses the y-axis. Wherever it crosses the y-axis, which is also known as the y-intercept. That number is going to be wherever it crosses the y-axis or the y-intercept. And then what if the line is vertical? Well, if we take a look at some of these points, this point here is at 2, 5. This one's at 2, 2. This one's at 2, -1. And any point here is going to have an x value of 2, and it crosses the x-axis. So it's a vertical line. I just said crosses the x-axis, so it's x equals 2. So crosses the x-axis. So in general, for any vertical line, how did I write it? Any vertical line has the equation x equals number, where that number is going to be your x-intercept, aka where line crosses the x-axis. So if it crosses the x-axis, it's going to be a line x equals something. If it crosses the y-axis, it's going to be a line y equals something. Okay, we're going to practice a little bit more. Maybe pause, try it, and see if you get it right. So I need my m and my b. In this case, my b is -2. My slope is 1/1, which is just 1. So this line is y equals 1x minus 2. Or you could just write y equals x minus 2. Both of these would be all right. For this line, I need my m and my b. My b is 1. And the slope, here's a good point. Oh, and the intercept's a good point. It's a negative slope because it's going down. So it's -3 and 2. So -3/2. So for this line, it's y equals -3/2x plus 1. 3 and 4. This one's a positive. This one's a negative. My m equals 1. My intercept right there is 0. So this is the line y equals 1x plus 0, which is the same as just the line y equals x. And for the fourth one, I don't like this one as much, not my y equals. My m equals, there's no good points here. I'm going to take a guess that this is at the halfway. And I'm going to say that this is my triangle. That goes down -2 and across 1. But it's sort of a guess since I don't know exactly that it does that. And then my y-intercept, my b would be 1.5 or 3/2. So y equals minus mx, so minus 2/1x plus 3/2 plus my intercept. For number 5, this is my line. So this line, that's my x-axis, that's my y-axis. This line crosses the y-axis, so it's a y equals line. So crosses y-axis. This is the line y equals -0.5. And here, this line crosses the x-axis. Crosses the x-axis. So this is an x line. So this is the line x equals -1.5. And down in the answers, we can see -0.5. That's the same as -1/2. -1/5. That's the same as -3/2. So we're good. And that's it for lesson 4. Thanks for watching.